I'm Andrew Rice.
I'm Luke Summerhays.
And I'm James J. Miles.
And you're listening to Monster Mash.
And on this week's episode, we are hunting Shogun Ceanataur.
Ooh.
Party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son.
Played the mash,
They played the Monster Mash.
the monster mash.
It was a
Jericho coming down. Now you know. Break the wall down.
These large Carpathians can be found around volcanoes and in the flooded forest. Shogun Ceanataur wield long, developed claws that are usually folded away, but unfurl into terrifying blades when enraged. Shogun Ceanataur, like the Daimyo Hermitaur, are also known to use wyvern skulls as shells. Specimens that do have been observed using a water jet-like attack.
With a fearsome leap, the hunter thinks its prey vanquished. But what it finds are not the spoils of victory, but discarded armor shed like a husk. And when the beast finds its next target, it doesn't think twice about leaving its old shell behind. It finds new armor to don, its blades as deadly as ever. Those who oppose it have no choice but to atone with their lives.
I was about to say, I can't remember fighting one, but then as soon as you said water jet attack, I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. I always remember them having like a bigger version of like the small small Ceanataur and small Hermitaur shells, but no, they do have the wyvern shell, don't they?
Yeah. Well, the one of the big differences between Ceanataur compared to Hermitaur is that it will switch its shells during the hunt. So if you smash one, it goes
to
underground.
confirm, Mars, the one we fought today had the wyvern skull.
Broke
First-
pretty quickly.
Oh, okay, fine. I was like, I thought you say you hadn't seen it. I was very confused.
I corrected myself very quickly, I'll have you know. Please don't put
Okay,
words in my
that's fine.
mouth.
No, well, I'm watching you. Don't you worry.
Although
That's
while
also
we're talking
fair.
about it spraying water, I've got to blow one of my fact loads pretty early.
Oh,
I'm looking here at a tweet from
I'm not ready
Gaijin
for
Hunter
this.
in June 23rd, 2020. Fun fact, Kojima-san from Capcom disclosed in an older article interview that the liquid the Shogun Ceanataur uses is urine.
oh, lovely.
I mean, it was always
Thanks.
either piss or spit, right? So, or as I
Was
tried to
it?
say then, spiss.
Is it definitely always going to be that? I mean, you
What else
I
would
feel
it
that you've water that it drank earlier.
Ejaculate.
AKA piss or spit.
No. It holds it in its special water gun pocket.
That's what I call my bladder.
I don't think spit is just water, is it? There must be. But there's enzymes and shit in there. That's not just water. It's processed.
Processed water.
It's better for you.
But piss is definitely processed water.
Oh,
That
piss, yeah. A process
Yeah,
has definitely been applied.
saliva is also processed water. It's all pretty processed. Is all I'm saying.
There you go.
What tastes better, piss, spit, or fridge?
I mean, obviously, spit. You can taste it at all times.
I don't have a response. I wonder if you could taste the difference in someone else's spit.
Well, yeah, obviously. Have you never kissed anyone, mate?
Yeah, but now I can taste the tongue and stuff, but can I taste the spit itself?
Yes, it's the spit you're tasting. You're not actually tasting the tongue.
We get back to the Shogun.
We are so into this episode and we've gone so insane.
Well, it's because you blew your fact load. you brought us down this cursed path.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So we did an episode on the Hermitaur, obviously, actually only a couple episodes ago, now think about it, goodness. But for me, out of the two big crab boys, Shogun's always been the main event.
I remember there being
obviously.
a bigger difference between them.
I think there is.
Here, well, maybe it's like Andy always says, we're just actually better at the game, is the difference. But here, it felt like, A, Ceanataur came pretty quickly after Hermitaur, and B, there wasn't a huge difficulties jump between the two for me.
I would argue it's the way that they've positioned monsters in the expansion more than anything else. I think if it was in high rank or low rank, there would be a more sizable gap. But I think that the fact that there's only so many new monsters on offer, and of the ones that they are offering, they are higher level. Like they're just sort of keeping it back. So yeah, unfortunately, he does look closer to his brother, purely because there's not enough to pad it out between the two.
Yeah, maybe if they'd been in base rise, like Ceanataur would have only been high rank or something like that.
Yeah, possibly.
I would say that I don't think that quest is indicative of the actual difficulty of Shogun, because me and Andy are in, quite, I wouldn't say end game sets, but very, very late game. We're not that far off. We've got very good sets and weapons. And I do remember when I first fought Ceanataur, when I had probably appropriately ranked gear, I did notice a real difficulty. Not a spike, but certainly a difference between him and Hermitaur. Like, it was a much dicier hunt with Ceanataur. Especially as it's the first monster that you can encounter that will inflict bleed on you, which is in status, obviously, we've encountered before in older games, but if you're new to the series since World or even Rise, it's a brand new status for you.
Yeah, knowing how to
And
deal with
nasty one.
bleed, it didn't bother me that much here, but I remember it feeling brutal back in the older games. Can you get bleed weapons yourself in Monster Hunter?
No, I think you're thinking of Elden Ring.
Well, no, because that's the point I was going to make, because Elden Ring's bleed is really fun to use on your weapons, but it's a really irritating mechanic if an enemy has it.
No, yeah, I think the monstrous sharpness is what they use instead. So
I guess
like the
right,
Seregios weapon has extra high sharpness.
But yeah, Seregios weapons
so,
have that cool thing where they sharpen themselves every time you roll.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that's a actual skill you get now
Yeah,
in
that's
his armor,
specifically
as
the
opposed to
threat.
on each weapon in Rise. But we'll come to that in a later episode, I am sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, if you know how to handle the bleed status, then it's not that much of a problem. Like, there's a item you can get that Jas clued me onto, where if you cook any fish item at the canteen through like the motley mix, whatever it's called, you'll get a big stack of items in return called premium fish, which are effectively like the sushi fish that you can sometimes get in the box at the start of the hunt.
Okay.
Or catch yourself, for that matter of fact. And they also give like a little regen over time effect as well. So not only do you cure the bleed, you also probably cure any damage you've taken with the hit and any bleed proc as well. But without those items, and especially if it's your first time encountering the status, I think it's quite easy to run about and take that extra little bit of bleed damage and then potentially even faint as a result of it. But
I usually find it's easier for me to just squat for a second than even use the item.
yeah,
It feels pretty quick in this game. Plus, you can wire bug out of range, do your little squatting, and then get back into it.
yeah, there's definitely ways around it. Obviously, if you're in the know, that is. But that's what I was saying. It can be a bit nasty for a newcomer, I suppose. Not that we've got a newcomer's perspective on that here, but still.
But I think just literally fighting it, it's a lot more fun than Hermitaur, because he's got so much more movement. His claws can go all around his body, swing at you, literally like swords. Whereas Hermitaur, he's more of a boxer than a sword fighter, and he's pretty stationary.
There's a really good new move that he's got. I don't remember him doing this in the old games. I could be totally wrong, but it's where he kind of like quickly sharpens his claws, like does a little like right with both claws, and then jumps at you with both of them.
That's pretty cool.
It's kind of like his It's like his biggest attack, I think, to be honest. It's nasty if it hits you. Like, does quite a big chunk of damage, even in, quite very good gear that I had. I got chunked by that move in the hunt we did, and saw my health bar deplete pretty quickly. He's a lot quicker, obviously, than Hermitor as well. Like, you got to be on your toes with some of like his slashes and swipes.
I haven't fought him in caves much. Does he still do that thing where he'll walk on the ceiling?
I think so, but I can't say I specifically remember. I've got it in my memory, but I don't know if that's a longer back memory than I should have.
I haven't seen him do it in Rise, but
I don't feel like there are as many sort of low-ceilinged caves around.
I don't think I've actually fought him in the lava caverns, because that would be the only real place that you would do it. That I can think of in Rise, at least. I think I've only just fought him in the flooded forest, and he normally just stays above ground, like in the swampy areas. But Andrew's on a postcard, please, if he does do it. I will say that still one of the most satisfying parts of the hunt, and this has always been the case with Shogun, and it's still the case in this game, is breaking that big old shell and exposing the fleshy nub beneath.
That is always a good time. There's no doubt about that.
It is. It's also horrible.
Is it?
Like, it's really gross, that little nub. No,
it sounds like you've been quite rude to crabs, to be honest, mate.
But is that what crabs are?
Unnecessary.
You know what? I haven't looked at
you don't know.
a hermit crab.
How many hermit crabs have you smashed the shell open for?
I want to see a hermit crab without his shell now. I'm going to put it up on Google Images.
I'm sure you could fight a hermit crab.
I'd like you to Google specifically hermit crab fleshy nub.
First, I'm going to search hermit crab no shell. Then I'll search hermit crab fleshy nub.
Thank
Oh,
you.
it is a bit of a fleshy nub.
Hey, see, they don't make this shit up,
No,
mate.
but
They did good
it's
research.
not like human skin coloured the way it is in Monster Hunter. It looks more like an uncooked prawn. It doesn't look like...
That is uncooked prawns are kind of human skin coloured.
I've been indoors for
It's not
3
that
years, mate.
far
You've not
away.
seen my skin.
I'm now trying hermit crab fleshy nub. I'm not
This is
getting much
great.
of a result.
Ah,
Disappointing.
sad.
I'm seeing one that lives inside of a bottle cap, though.
Great.
One lives inside of a washing
That's
up
cute.
bottle. Yeah, they live in all kinds of weird
sad.
stuff.
Yeah.
Visually, the Ceanataur's design is a bit like busier and weirder than Hermitor. But one thing which we didn't know back when we did our first Shogun Ceanataur episode, and which is really cool, is that its design is a deliberate reference to the trooper bugs in Starship Troopers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the way the like bluish colouring, and then the bugs in Starship Troopers, the main trooper ones, they've got like two, I don't know, prongs, whatever, coming out the front like one big claw, and that's how Ceanataur's face is designed.
That's...
If you see them side by side, you're like, oh, okay, it is actually definitely a thing. And then apparently it has actually been mentioned in interviews.
Oh, really? Okay. I was going to say,
Similar
could it
to
be
how the piss
coincidental, but... Fair. Onto its design as well, and speaking of the crabs living in weird things, is it the same kind of Monoblos style shell that the Ceanataur has?
One of them
Like
I know is Gravios.
Yep.
There's like a
That
snail.
must be Ceanataur there, because I think Hermitor's whole deal is he's got the big horn on the back, right?
No, yeah. No,
Yes,
I'm literally
correct.
talking about Ceanataur now, yeah. This is the Ceanataur episode.
Yeah, come on. We did the other episode. Yeah, come on.
It's got another one that's more of just like a shelled animal's shell. And then it's got another one which is supposed to be a wyvern, but it's not so clear what wyvern it is. Like it might not be an actual one that we've seen before.
Yeah, I think that's always been the
Yeah.
rumour. I'm sure that's what we discussed last time we did this.
Still not seen it. It's been 6 years. Come on.
Generations...
I just haven't been looking hard enough.
Generations Ultimate, there was a Shogun Ceanataur Deviant, the Rust Razor Ceanataur, which has pretty cool claws, but also it wears a Glavenus shell. Glavenus skull as its shell.
That.
Oh, well, we probably didn't see it, because he wasn't in Generations, he was only in Generations Ultimate.
Yeah, we barely did the Deviants, did we?
We barely touched the Deviants, and we'd already done our Ceanataur episodes, so...
Fair enough.
Yep. I don't know how different his fight was or anything, because, again, I haven't fought it.
Is there not a subspecies of the monster regularly, or am I thinking Hermitaur?
There are some odd species in, like, Frontier and stuff.
Right.
And there's a hardcore one, but that's not really like a subspecies. Oh no, not even in Frontier. In Monster Hunter Online, there's a Swordmaster Shogun Ceanataur and Onimusha.
Excellent.
The Capcom game.
Apparently, it's named after it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, probably. That's
I reckon they can get the rights to a Capcom game. To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite likely, isn't it? Quite likely.
It's just the way you said it, like such a horror Capcom game of all games.
Onimusha just means like demon samurai. So.
Yeah. I really like the.
Hold on.
I was gonna say I really like the weapons you can get with the Shogun stuff, like the sword and shield, which to be fair is also part Hermitaur. You've got the Shogun's claw as your sword, and then the Hermitaur's claw as the shield. It's a really cool setup, and I think the dual blades for the Ceanataur are you would just wield 2 claws, if I remember rightly. Like, they are really cool weapons.
No, they're still a bit swastika-y.
Oh, oh dear.
The bladed edge / limb cutter. I'm looking at the picture from Monster Hunter Generations. Let me just put Rise in there. No, it's still pretty much the same.
Joy.
It's like 3 multiple claws, like arranged, spinning around.
Well,
yeah,
it's not that. You're missing 1 claw. So
yeah. The handle is the 4th claw.
Oh, I see. I'm with you.
Yep. Yeah, it's close enough. I mean, it's not like blatant Nazi imagery, but you can see why someone would look at it and get that impression.
I would that would be a bold turn for Monster Hunter if they decide to start going for blatant.
It's definitely a reach. Like, yeah,
I think it's a reach. Yeah.
But also, you genuinely do see that symbol used everywhere in Asia in the Buddhist context. Like, if you look at a town map, it literally, the way they mark temples is with that symbol. And there's big hanging banners at, like, all the Buddhist temples with that symbol on it. It's not, and obviously the Nazi one is flipped and tilted at an angle, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
For the first couple of years living in Japan, it's a shock to regularly see that everywhere.
Speaking of living in Japan, you want to tell us a bit about the shogunate?
Yeah, nice. So shogun. So officially, the term shogun means chief of the military for the defense of Japan. And I think the first couple of people who were called shogun were appointed by the emperor, and it was just a military title. But for the majority of Japan's history, the actual emperor held no power, and the shogun, who was the head of the samurai class, was the actual leader of Japan. And the emperor was just like a symbolic position. So shogun officially means like highest ranking military commander, but was literally like the king of Japan for about 1,000 years. And the shogun...
He lived a long time.
Oh, yeah. He was an absolute G. No, there was multiple different families took it and then lost it, and then took it and then lost it, and there was, 250 years of solid civil war.
Classic.
That's why they got good at killing, innit?
does the Shogun Ceanataur armor reflect that at all? Like,
Well, I think it
quite.
The fact that it, like the shell helmet kind of thing, is a bit samurai armory, and then the two swords obviously is very samurai. I've obviously got the female armor set, and the male one as well. It is a bit more Western armor than samurai, I would say. I don't really think the Ceanataur armor looks that much like a samurai armor set. The only armor set I would say looks particularly samurai is Magnum Marlow.
Yeah.
But I think they're just using Daimyo and Shogun just to mean, the boss one. The same way they use Great Jaggi or Royal Ludroth. It's just another way to say this one is the big boss, one of the little ones.
You should do that more often, like King Jaggi.
And then the Ceanataur part, one of the orders that hermit crabs are under is Ceanabitidae. And then also crustacean, that's how Ceanataur is spelled. And I think Tor just means horn. So there you go.
Pretty much. There we go.
There we go.
How many John Cena jokes did we make in the previous show?
Oh, it was non-stop, and Andy was not enjoying it.
Sure you appreciate the distinct lack of them on this episode, Andy.
I mean, I wouldn't have known if they'd happened, but you're not
the thing is,
patting yourselves on the back for it. So it's
we were not good at putting them in subtly, so we would just say some total non sequitur. And you'd be like, "Oh, the wrestling reference was it? Okay."
Right. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, that sounds like something that would happen.
I think just me, Jay, and Jas were all a bit more in the wrestling pocket at that stage in our lives.
So, if waiting another couple of weeks for another Monster Mash will be having you feeling blue, do not worry, because next time we'll all be going awoo as we hunt the Lunagaron, that big old wolf lad. So make sure you join us for that one. Until then, look, if the listeners want to find us on other platforms, or follow us, or even support us, where can they do that?
Well, we're on all the podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all of that. Make sure you search Monster Mash Podcast. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe, like, and give us a 5-star rating and a review and all of that. It would be nice to, get spread around a little bit. I think we have 100 people listening every week. That's pretty cool. If 100 people were actually turning up to listen to us in a movie, we'd feel like fucking big Jesus, right?
But they're not going to confirm. I mean, I'm not putting my neck on the line for that one.
Your neck on the line.
We have 100 listeners sounds small in terms of internet numbers, but there's quite a lot of people just listening to us chat shit about a big crab.
I guess you won't get to see Andy at Monster Mash live then.
Not just yet.
Look, I'll turn up if you guys put a planet, but I will not be investing in Monster Hunter Live.
Monster Hunter Live? That's a big ask. Where's this Mash Live?
Shit.
We're also on Twitter at Monster Mash Pod. We're also on Facebook. Make sure you search Monster Mash Podcast. Get in touch. Tell us you're enjoying it or you're not enjoying it. Or that we should stop talking about kissing because you can't relate to that because you're a sad loner. And if you're not a sad loner and you're actually rolling in it and you're an absolute player, you can support us by going to patreon.com/podcastio-podcastius.
What a plot.
So to confirm, you're saying that the only way to kiss someone is to have money.
I'm saying
quite problematic.
That if you're an absolute player and a pimp, then clearly you'd support us on Patreon. And if you don't, it's because you're a scrub.
I didn't realise you got so into capitalism lately.
I've decided to
well
just embrace
turned
it.
For you.
No, this isn't capitalism. Capitalism is hoarding wealth. I'm telling them to share it with me so I can hoard it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Spoken like a true capitalist.
It's a tax-deductible charity to give your money to patreon.com/podcastio-podcastius.
It is not a tax-deductible charity.
It's very legal disclaimer of you there, Andy.
I might just cut it.
Keeping us.
I think that's the end of the episode. Just Andy giving a disclaimer.
Well, no, before then, Andy, what can they tweet at Andy Man?
No. This is not my responsibility. Absolutely not.
Passing the buck then. Guess Luke has to do it.
I'm not passing the buck. It was never my buck.
He's passed the buck. Look, because he's passed the buck, I want you to think of the most vital thing they can tweet at Andy Man 9 for 9 this week.
Tweet at AndyMan949 pictures of your fleshy nub.
Yeah, there we go. You deserve that, Andy. Enjoy. Till then.
Oh, yes. I can't wait to see all the fleshy nubs because they're definitely going to get tweeted.
I hope they do this week. I really hope they do.
Let's face it, if anyone's going to tweet it, it's going to be Tree, and I don't think he's going to cross that line.
That's what you think, son. Till then. Catch us next time.
See ya.
Goodbye. Right, yeah, sorry, I'm meant to actually be finishing up, getting ready.
Already up.
This has been a shambles today, Andy.
It's just getting the right swords on, lads.
Right, you ready?
Yep.
Let's go. Let's go kill
But, you know, you say that it's been a shambles. On the other side, you've not had to wait for me to get a drink today. So, you know.
There's that.
That's true.
Little victories.
Yeah. Actually, I feel a bit thrown out of sorts that we're not waiting for you to get a drink.
That's just me, keeping it real, keeping it live.
I went and watched Jurassic World today.
Oh yeah? How'd you find it?
That
like...
cannot be the history documentary you were on about.
No, I was also watching an actual history documentary.
Okay.
It was fine, but like... most of its time was spent on boring shit I didn't care about.
It was a really dumb film, but like... I don't know, I feel most people hated it a lot more than I did, and I don't really understand why.
I didn't hate it, but... because the bits where it was doing dinosaur stuff were great. I just wish that was what it was doing instead of... and like, the plot about locusts is an interesting thing about, you know, the way these companies do try to control seeds or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't go to Jurassic World film to see bugs.
Yeah, they definitely tried to tackle too much and in a very independent manner to what came before, which is a problem.
It kind of was like following on to stuff that was brought up in the previous one, but
was it? I mean, was the main thing from the previous? Well, was the end of the previous one not? Oh shit, dinosaurs are out in the world, and we then got 1 second of dinosaurs being out in the world
with the clone girl or whatever.
Yeah, of course you had Clone Girl, but Clone Girl I don't think was particularly well used. Like, no. I don't know. Yeah. But I don't know.
Dinosaur stuff.
I just consider it to be dumb enough in general. I mean, I think a lot of people don't like the Multipiece, which I thought was really good fun.
It's like probably the best bit of the film.
Yep.
Look, with that attitude about bugs, we're never going to get Celta Screen back.
I liked seeing some feathered dinosaurs though, that was good.
I see. Has that only just come out over there then?
Yeah, came out 2 days ago.
Damn.
Oh, I thought you were on about the first one.
No. The first one I find it difficult to have any emotion about. It's the definition of a film that is fine. I like that it had a big close-up of a bird's foot at the start.
What?
The first Jurassic World starts with a big close-up of a bird's foot. You're like, oh, it's a dinosaur foot. Oh, it isn't. It's a bird.
I see.
It's genius
I don't remember that.
Who directed it?
I think Colin Trevorrow did all 3.
Really? Because there's no consistency in that trilogy, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I might have completely made that up in my head. No, because his name definitely came up in the credits of the one I just
He's not
watched,
like an
and
executive producer or some shit, right?
It said like written directed, I think.
Damn.
Because he was meant to do.
And they didn't like
Star Wars.
I was going to say they didn't do the double Star Wars thing, right?
Smacking it in its Weird little sausage knob.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a particularly long one, to be honest.
We're actually battering this thing.
We could actually turn up to get involved in
Get involved, yeah. Hey, I thought it was gone.
Kodachi turned up. I took it to the Kodachi.
Yeah, that's true, to be fair. Gotta give Andy his credit that he knows how to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
this now.
That's it. Big character development across this series.
It's different that it all happened in the year we weren't playing. It wasn't a year this time, was it?
I mean, it actually happened in the year that we were playing, because I only really started it once we came back for summer break. Mainly because I switched to dual blades, which has been a smart move.
Have you seen the Shogun's dual blades yet?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, can you check if it still has the ones it used to have that were shaped like swastikas?
Going to assume not, but
I don't know, it's like meant to be a Buddhist thing, I think. That's something I'm still not used to in Japan, is just seeing those everywhere.
Ooh, fuck.
Maybe we're not battering it as much as we thought, eh?
Yeah.
no, definitely battering it. I haven't actually used the potion or anything yet.
Okay.
Well, I have just now. But...
Please don't lie to the listeners, Andy.
Well, I hadn't. As I was saying it, I was using my first potion. But
You were lying mid-sentence.
yeah, that's fine. That's only a half-life.
So if Bill Clinton had said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman while she was sucking it off.
You have to commit to the Bill Clinton
No.
impression.
No. He has to.
You have to commit to the impression more than that. you started it, but then you gave up halfway through, and I'm not having that.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I think she
better.
had to start around the relations. But I
Okay.
think any sooner is too much
I
of a
did
lie.
not have sexual
Yep.
relations with that woman.
There you go. Nubs out.
Yeah,
For the
you
boys.
know,
I'm so for the
lads.
boys. Oh, we're awful.
Yep. What more do you want? It's primo Sunday morning podcasting for you.
Dance with the lads.
Have you heard of the these old reviews that were about, which were called "Gaming in the Clinton Years"?
Oh, I do sort of remember
I
that.
knew I was right to
was
say
like-
no.
Some weird, like, straight to TV thing.
Yeah, it was like some
public access TV.
public
thing,
access
some
TV,
people doing
and
that.
they were mental. Like some of the worst takes you've ever heard, even from like 90s review standards. And like there was one of them which I think is the most infamous, where he did a review of like Tomb Raider 2 or something like that, or Tomb Raider 3, I can't remember. And he was talking about like the plot of Tomb Raider, and he said something along the lines of, and I'll be paraphrasing slightly, but the main point will stand. He said something like, Lara Croft is a strong, independent female character. Perhaps the developer should play upon that in the next title and give Lara Croft breast cancer.
Yeah.
What? Jeez.
And there's no, inclination of it being a joke. This man is deathly serious.
I think I only
I'm
know
surprised
about
he
it
didn't get a
from
job
you,
at
but
Crystal
yeah, I definitely
Dynamics.
have heard about it.
I don't think I've ever spoken about it to you before.
that all the time, mate. That's pretty much what you
I feel like you spoke
base
about
your
it
personality on.
on a MASH podcast like 5 years ago.
Oh, fair. It's 5 years ago. I'm not remembering that shit.
Oh, come on, mate. Don't recycle your content.
We're probably going to be recycling a lot of Shogun Ceanataur content coming up.
No, I have noticed a really annoying trend at the moment where people are posting old scans and being like, oh, game adverts were wild back in the day. But it's not game adverts, it's magazine headlines or magazine, like, next issue previews and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, of course, the British magazine banter was different to, like, the company line. Because the same guys writing all the gaming mags back then were also writing, like, Zoo and Nuts.
Is magazine still about, you reckon?
You guys can check, I can't.
You can. Come on, just pop back.
We have caught and compromised to a permanent end the Shogun Ceanataur.
Farewell, Shogun. It was nice to see you.
Is that a John Cena line there?
Yeah, it was.
Oh dear.
That was John Cena announcing to the audience that Bin Laden was dead.
Yeah.
Great.
Compromised.
There's like straight up porn magazines just in the front of the newsagent, in the front of the convenience store, in like every convenience store in Japan.
In the front?
Yeah, it's like right by the checkout. You just see like old dudes leafing through them.
So.
Checkouts in the UK, they're all trying to put like healthy snacks, you know. In Japan, you know, get your rocks off.
Yeah.
A healthy alternative.
There is nothing healthier than masturbation.
Lovely.
I think that's perfect.
What a lovely way to end on.